Hey everyone, nice to see you again. Thanks for tuning back in. Today we are visiting with Carmen Tribbett. She is one of our authors. She does the Monster Dog book series, and she is a lovely lady. She's actually our very first author and probably the reason why we are doing Fox Point Publishing. She, besides myself, she was our very first author we started publishing for a little less than a year ago. She's already got 3 books out in the Monster Dog book series, and her 4th book is scheduled to be released in October of this year. So she is a very busy lady. But right now we are going to get started talking with her. Again, Carmen Tribbett. And Carmen, if you want to say hi to everyone.
Hello.
Okay, good job. All right, well, we have 5 questions that she has picked out and has sculpted answers to, and we are going to get to know a little bit about Carmen with the introduction interviews that we are doing with everyone that is a part of Fox Point Publishing. So we will get started off first. First question is, Carmen, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and yourself and everything you do?
Well, I must start by confessing that I'm 88 years old and I have a very busy life and I enjoy writing. And I've been very busy with Fox Point, as you can tell. And Kirsten and I have worked well together, and that's my life. Right now, my husband's dead, and so I have been writing, and I'll probably talk about that more later.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you tell us the top 5 things about you that we should know?
Well, this is my 5th career. After graduating from college, I worked in a Presbyterian church with children and teaching teachers of our church schools, etc. That was a long time ago. And then I taught public school, 6th grade. And then I retired when our family came, a little girl. And we moved to Austin, Minnesota from Illinois, where I met my husband. And then my next career was after I taught school and stayed home, then I was going to go back to teaching because I loved it so. When I was a little girl, I used to play with my dolls, and my dad made me a desk for my 4th birthday. And one day the little dolls would be sick, and I'd be their nurse. And the next day, they'd get me all better because I'm such a good nurse, and they would go to school with me. So I was always torn my whole life between teaching and nursing. So when I got ready to go back to teaching after the kids were grown, I finished working on a nursing degree. And before I was through, my last career was teaching nursing skills in a lab. And I did that for 14 years. And my husband retired, and so I retired when he did. But it was a dream job, and I just absolutely loved it. So those are my 5 careers. And then I took up writing at ripe old age of 80-some.
And you've been very good at it too. So, all right. Well, with the monster, you're welcome. With the Monster Dog book series, when did you start writing these books about Tasse, who is the monster dog?
Tasse is truly a monster dog, and she has a lot of spirit, and she lives with me, but she loves my departed husband. And she was his dog, as the 2nd book would indicate, the book on Alzheimer's. And my husband had Alzheimer's for 18 years. And so after he died, I turned to writing. It's sort of interesting how I got started with the 1st book, because while my husband was in the nursing home for 3 years, it was a very sad and hard time of my life. And so at night I got into playing games on the computer. And then I decided, and it was probably good medicine at that time, but after he died and I had time, I thought, I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing this. So I was so amused by the dog's behavior that I did the first book, the attitude book, because this dog does have attitude. And so I just wrote the first book for fun. And the second book, I was led to write, the one on Alzheimer's. And now the third book is for fun again. So, and the fourth book is for fun again. So from now on, I guess they're mostly for fun. But I must have written about 50 stories about this dog. And I still have. She still does weird things, funny things. So that's how I got started.
Well, she's providing you.
I did write a book when my John was adopted, was 7, and he felt really bad at a certain point in his life, developed a tic, and so he felt really bad about being adopted. Adopted kids do go through that. And so I did write a book at that point, but that's his book, and The Big Old House. And before that, my principal encouraged me to write children's stories, but I never did until after Ken died.
Well, and of course, the monster dog, Tasse, is providing you a lot of material for future books. Yeah, she's a very sweet dog. And yeah, she's definitely got a personality. She does. She's a good girl, though. All right.
Wish for, because she always slept with her head on my husband's knee. And she won't sleep with me, of course, and that's okay. But she started coming in and sleeping in her little pink bed at night, and she snores. So be careful what you wish for.
Well, that's true too. And actually, I will add that the monster dog book series, books 1, 3, and eventually 4 here are good for story hours or bedtime stories. Those are popular. And the illustrations are awesome. And they're a good sized book and full of pictures, which leads me to my next question. Tell us about your illustrator.
My illustrator is a very dear friend now, just young and beautiful, and has a little 4-year-old, so she's very busy, and she's also in every play in town because she's so good at theater. She's very gifted, and I've become very fond of her. We will have coffee together and discuss the stories and the cover, and we normally see the same story and agree on what she's going to paint on. But she's an artist, and it would never in God's green earth occurred to me to put a pink ribbon on Tasse's tail, which she's done. She sees things so beautifully, and it's been a real joy to work with. As I said, she's very young. She's in her 30s, and just a very special person. And I think extremely gifted. In the third book, there's a picture of the dog winning the World Series, and for her team, the Heavenly Hounds. And Katie's got her in a baseball outfit, and it's just too cute. In fact, it's on the back of the cover of the book.
And I will say, you will see, if you subscribe to the channel, wherever the subscribe button is on here, we will have more about Carmen's Monster Dog books in the pictures, and more about her on there. And if you go to the Fox Pointe website, it's foxpointepublishing.com, and that Pointe has an E on it because, you know, we have to be difficult, but foxpointepublishing.com, click on professionals at the top, scroll down till you see Carmen's picture. Click on that, you'll see all the information about our books, where you can buy them, you can see the pictures, you can even see Katie and some information about Katie on there. So everything's on there. Check it out after we finish the video here. My next question, though, Carmen, is what are you working on next?
I'm working on Life's Lessons Learned. And it's, again, a funny book in many ways. The stories are things like take turns and share your peanut butter.
Mhm.
That. And choose your friends carefully. And in each book, I put at least 2 lessons or stories that are really, I feel, uh, important and helpful for a teacher to use in discussing with small children or younger children. Um, and in Life's Lessons Learned, she uh, runs off with a big dog, dumps a garbage can, and she learns because she wanted him to be her friend that she shouldn't just do anything just to please someone else. And so they'll be her friend. And
Yeah.
then one book, as that's the 3rd book now, the monster series, the Dear Diary book. There's a lesson in there about a bully dog. And so there's I hope the teachers will find it helpful. And I try always to add at least 2 things that teachers can have a discussion about.
That's a good idea. And definitely, like I said, good for story reading or a classroom of kids, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. Those are good. They're good books. Matter of fact, you got a wonderful review from a 3rd grade class out in, I want to say, Vancouver, Washington. And I forgot her name. Her first name is Shelley, is the teacher. And yeah, so she's got the book and she'll be sharing it with all of her 3rd grade classes as we go here. Anyway, last question. Why do you think people should read your book?
Well, this latest book, Children Love Secrets. And as I mentioned, the teachers can use them, and parents too, to talk about worrying and bully dog and being bullied and so on. And so I think that it's a good starting point for conversations with things that bother children. And I hope that will impact the children and as they discuss this together. And so the dog narrates these books. So they're written from her point of view. And so children usually will relate to a dog. And of course, I think they should read this book, Tasse's Dear Diary stories, because Tasse tells her secrets. And children absolutely love secrets.
That they do.
So I think they should just do it for the pleasure of reading a good story.
Yep, and I will also add that Dear Diary, more so than Big Attitude, but still, is there like 1 and 2 page short stories. So even if you have a squirrely kid who can't sit still or only gets 1 bedtime story, there are 12 stories, 15 stories in that book, I think.
And the latest one is 12, I think.
Yeah.
13 next, yes.
Okay. So, you
They
could.
use bedtime too. I mean, she gets tucked in at night.
Yep. So, yeah, you can.
Alzheimer's book.
You can make that book last over the course of the week, actually. 2 stories a night or whatever the case may be. And they're decent sized, and we have a lot of readers, a lot of teachers, a lot of parents that incorporate different voices into it. As a matter of fact, Katie, who also, does theater and illustrations, etc., she also will sometimes do the events, and she goes and does different voices while she is reading The Monster Dog to kids at bookstores. So, and that is one thing that we are hoping to add on here is Zoom call webinar author events where Carmen and or Katie can get on with the co-hosting bookstore and read to people. That should be fun too. While we're in this goofy time in our world, we can still bring some fun and some laughter, some good times to all the kids out in the world too. And Carmen's got incredible books. You need to check them out. But anyway, so yeah, clearly I think Carmen is wonderful. You can tell this. And so are her books. But anyway, so Carmen, we're gonna, before we sign off here, do you want to say anything else to anyone out in YouTube world?
Just that I felt really led to write the Alzheimer's book. Small Dog with a Big Heart learns about Alzheimer's. This is my crowning achievement, I think, because it helps explain death to children and grief and getting over grief. And I think it's a really helpful book for children. And I've been told that it is for some parents that have used it. And so I hope that you'll consider reading that book to your children and talking to them about it now when we have the virus and death is so close to even children. And I thank you for your time. And it's been fun talking about myself. And I appreciate what Kirsten's doing. So with that, I'll say goodbye.
And to everyone out there too, yes, the Alzheimer's book is a very good book. It's what, about 40, 50 pages, something, if memory.
I don't think it's that long, but it's,
really? Okay. Well, anyway, bad memory. But the Alzheimer's book is a good book to share with kids. It's ages 7 to 12. There's a little more than a picture book involved to it. What were you gonna say?
It's funny. This first chapter is funny, and the last chapter has some humor in it too.
Yeah.
But it does explain Alzheimer's, what happens, and death and grieving.
And actually, I was going to say too, you know, it's great to use for a family, for kids that has Alzheimer's in the family, but in reality, Alzheimer's affects pretty much everyone, you know, whether it's in your family or extended family or friends, or just to know about it. That's an important thing. So Alzheimer's book, I'm sorry, The Monster Dog, A Small Dog with a Big Heart Learns About Alzheimer's Disease, is actually a very good book to teach kids about the different illnesses that can happen with people. So definitely pick that up. But anyway, all right, I'm going to just keep talking. So, all right, you guys have a fabulous day in internet land. I thank you so very much for joining myself and Carmen during this introduction interview for Pointe. Again, there's a button somewhere below, up above, who knows, that says subscribe. Please subscribe to our channel. We have so much more that we have planned for everyone in the world. And with that, we will wait till our next interview. But in the time being, have a wonderful afternoon in your neighborhood. Thank you.